Don't do it. Just stay back there, bud.
So for our stray calls, I think there's a few important aspects of this, right? This really tough moment where you're trying to secure a dog without letting it go across a busy road, right? And think of all the congestion, you know, on Hall Road and 23 Mile and 26 Mile and just, you know, all those crossroads that, you know, have all this traffic. It's very nerve-wracking, right? And you have to be very methodical in your approach to getting a stray dog.
Perfect, run in.
If the dog's in flight mode, now we got a dog that's just jumping fences, right?
He's back over here.
Now it's on the next street. So now we have to get another unit to be on that next street, right? And so that person that's now in that yard is running back to the car to try to get in their car. So there's so many approaches to it because you don't want to just keep chasing this poor dog.
Perfect, run in.
So you have to, and dogs that are in flight mode are not going to be the dogs that you can throw treats to and try to lure it to you. That doesn't happen. You're going to have to, you know, use your best effort,
hi, puppy,
all your experience to try to get this dog into a position that you can contain it.
So Deputy Conn and I were chasing a stray dog here in Clinton Township. It sounds like he had the dog confined at one point and actually in his control. The dog was able to chew through the tool that Deputy Conn had used to secure the dog, which allowed the dog to get free. The problem that we encountered in this area that we were chasing the dog is that there was not a lot of properties that had fenced in yards, to which case the dog kind of just had free rein to run wherever he wanted. Unfortunately, this time around, it doesn't seem like we were able to recapture the dog. So Deputy Condon is going to remain in the area where the dog was last seen in case we get another call, to which case we'll go back out there and we'll try again.
Hi, bud. Hi, bud.
And so in this case, we have a dog that's jumping fences, right? We can't catch the dog. You see the huge law enforcement present, right? So you have Shores PD there, we're there. You know, everyone's trying to secure this dog so that one, it doesn't, you know, it's not harmed in any way, right? Hit by a car or something terrible happened to it, or it jumps into a yard with another dog that's not dog friendly, right? And these poor people that had that dog had no idea that this dog was gonna jump in their yard. When we think of stray dogs, I want you to think of this component, that we are banning outside dogs. So when you leave for work, the dog needs to be secured inside your home. And that is in our county's best practices. And so the reason why that's important is that if you leave a dog outside, you have no idea what the dog's gonna do once you leave. In this case, we were able to get a hold of an owner and we're like, you need to get home now. We don't care what you're doing, but you need to get home because that dog's gonna listen to you. And that's what happens in this case, is that we get a hold of the owner shows up on scene and can secure the dog.
He's right here.
The dog's name is Buddha and the owner is here.
Buddha? I sped past him and pushed him this way. Jared, go over there. Ma'am, go slow. He's coming your way.
So in this case, you know, our ticket's gonna be written as being punitive worth being more educational. And so in this case, I feel like it was more kind of an educational thing. So we had never been out to this house before for this specific dog. And that's what we tried to look at, is like not having repeat offenders. And everybody understanding and respecting the fact that we don't want outside dogs for one of these reasons. Being a dog left to its own, you know, situation is gonna figure out some things to do.
So there was a loose dog in Roseville. He started out around 9 Mile and Frazo. Roseville PD called us to assist to catch him. Took us about an hour to corral him, then the owner ended up showing up to help corral him into our car.
There we go.
Luckily, the dog didn't get injured too badly, and he was able to get home safe and sound.
We see people dumping dogs. We just had one dumped in Roseville at a 7-Eleven by Frazo. Get out, give the dog, you know, just let the dog out behind the store. And, you know, thank God they have cameras so we can find out who these people are. Then we also have the same thing happen back to back with a dog that's dumped at Frederick Park, right? Just was done nursing. So what you see, or you could only imagine, is that they're keeping the puppies, selling the puppies, done with mom, goodbye.
Pretty dried up. So if she had babies, they're likely weaned.
So we got a call about 8:30 this morning that somebody dropped off a black and brown dog at Frederick Park in St. Clair Shores. Just got out of their vehicle, let the dog out, and drove away. Unfortunately, there was no like ring cameras around or anything, so nobody got the license plate number. Me and Deputy Davis responded. We got there, couldn't find the dog at first, but we drove around. St. Clair Shores PD was out there helping us locate the dog. We got out there, and then after a couple of minutes, me and Deputy Davis got the dog back in someone's backyard. We were able to close the gate. The dog ended up hopping the fence, and so we hopped the fence a couple of times before we were able to get her, but we got her. Came with dog had a choke chain on her, but now, you know, we have her. She's safe back at the station. Hopefully we can find whoever did this so that they can be brought to justice.
Whoa, I'm sorry. Did I stop petting you? I'm sorry.
You know, people are like, well, you know, at least they dumped it somewhere where people are going to find it. It's like, no, that ship sailed. I don't even buy that anymore. To me, it's like, no, you have an obligation. You, for some reason, took on the responsibility of this animal. Whether, you know, you adopted it from somewhere or someone gave it to you, you took on that responsibility. Now you have to make sure that that dog or cat or whatever it's going to be is secured somewhere. You can't just dump it, you know, not just because yes, it's illegal, but it's one of those things too. It's like, I think there's a lot of people whose moral compasses are highly skewed right now, right? So people are like, well, what should they do? It's like, call us, call rescue groups, place the animal somewhere that's safe, right? And that doesn't mean that happens in 20 minutes. That could take 20 days for that to take place, right? I mean, as you see, every, you know, animal control division, humane society, animal rescue, they're full. They're bursting at the seams because of stuff like this. So sure, we could, you know, for abandoned animals, we could write tickets, right? And they go to court. But the judges, they're the ones that hold all the power. Because even if you just threw somebody in jail for a weekend and start sending home a message to everybody that in Macomb County, we are not going to tolerate it anymore. And the judges team up and they start putting people with some jail time behind it, even if it's a weekend. People will think. I really believe that people will start thinking. And because the message should be loud and clear. In 2023, we saw the most animal cruelty and neglect cases ever. And if there's anything we need, it's the judges on our side to hold these people accountable. You abandon that animal at Frederick Park or the 7-Eleven and just throw it out there, great. Now you spend the weekend in jail and think about it. And people might think, well, you know, Chief Randazzo, that's not a very good way for people to reflect on the things that they've done. I disagree. I think there's a point where people are past a point where we could, you know, have coaching moments or educational moments. I think when you do things like that, then you should go to jail for a weekend.
Okay, we only saw 3. She said there was 4.
No, we saw 4. I saw 4.
As far as the Sutton House would go, it's just a never-ending battle with the cats, right? So if you think about the cats, they're in the walls, right? So we have to place traps out there and, you know, just monitor these traps and, you know, as we're going, try to secure those holes so they can't go into those same places and stuff. But, you know, I think for the people watching that it's never just you go in there, you get all the cats and you leave. Because we know in experience, a lot of those animals are hiding somewhere that you just can't see or you can't get to them. So we have to consistently monitor those. And that takes work and effort. on top of all the other calls you get. You know, so it's never just a one and done. And think of the cats and how much care they needed and medication. And the great thing about that case is, I think all but one of the cats lived and have been placed.
All right, so we're just now leaving Sutton address again. We had been out now probably about a week and a half ago. We were attempting at that time to get all of the cats out of the house. However, the home and cat owner got released from the hospital, went back to the house, denied us entry, locked all the doors, stated that she was going to keep the remainder of the cats. Since then, she has gone through some legal issues with guardianship of herself and her property, to where now somebody else is responsible for the guardianship of her and her property, and have given us access to get the remainder of the cats out of the property. As of today, we've removed a total of 51 cats from the residence. There are still at least one or two more in there, and we'll continue to follow up until we're comfortable that all the cats are out of the residence. We had a report that one of the families that was here, they were feeding one of the horses, one of the miniature horses, and as the 2-year-old child was feeding the horse had bitten the child's hand, and they had gone to the emergency room to get treatment for that. So basically we were out here to follow up, to check the welfare and the status of the horses. And a family from Detroit came over, and they were feeding one of the horses.
One thing, I love is diversity of the animals that we see at Macomb County Animal Control, and the diversity of our calls that we go to, right? It's not all dogs and cats. Obviously, you see that we went up to one of our cider mills, and they have a lot of livestock up there. And so, every year we see something different, right? So in this case, we have where someone's feeding one of the little ponies, and, their fingers get bit. And a lot of it's just from the nature of feeding them, right? So it's always interesting to me too, because I think when we think of bites, we think of dogs and cats and maybe wildlife or something like that. But livestock, our horses, our little equine friends, they do it too. And to me, this isn't out of viciousness. This is out of like trying to get a treat, right? And then we get our fingers chomped. And so, I think it's important too that in situations where we're going to have animals displayed on the public, that those animals are good citizens too, right? Like our good little livestock citizens.
Well, it does say do not feed, and gives you specific instructions.
These are accidents that always happen, right? And we follow up on all of them. So whether it's, large animal or livestock, we still have to investigate that.
You're unique, aren't you, buddy? You don't see many zonkies. No, you don't.
To us, it's one of those 10-day quarantines, just like we would, dogs and cats, and, making sure all the vaccines are up to date and stuff like that. So this all turned out well.
Oh, heck yeah.
So we're really, fortunate that we have a lot of cider mills that have best practices already in place, and Blake's being one of them. They put on great entertainment for our community, and their animals are usually very well taken care of, so we're very fortunate for that.
Hi, yes. You guys are a lot more willing to see what's going on than your partner over there.
If you really think about it, it is really a diverse county as far as like animals go. So you think of the southern part of the county, going up to the northern part to the cider mills, these are animals they don't get to see all the time. So when they do see them, they get to enjoy them and stuff like that. And that's where the educational piece comes through, right? Like those coaching moments, I call them. So we could kind of coach a lot of the residents that normally would never see livestock about livestock. So I think in this piece, you guys will see that this dog is in distress.
So we got a call and complaint about a welfare check on a breed appearing to be a Weimaraner, outside, tethered, with no food, no water, no shelter. So when I came out here, it was pretty apparent that there was a geriatric Weimaraner that was tethered, and was unable to move its back legs was the first thing that I noticed. There was 2 bowls there. When I looked a little further, there is no water at all. There's no food out here. There's no shade. There was a little bit of shade that she did have nearby she couldn't get to because of the tether. I immediately called for help for Macomb Sheriffs to come out here, and thankfully they were right down the road. So he came and we were able to at least remove her from the time being, but she was in quite a bit of distress. She was frothing at the mouth due to not having any kind of water at all. Because of all the panting, she also had what's called petechia, which are little tiny red, pink and red dots that are all over the body that comes out when an animal is having a severe heat stroke. Because she was unable to move also, she was laying around her feces that she had already had there. It just was not a good situation at all. So thankfully, Macomb Sheriff was able to track down, along with the help of Chief Randazzo, who did some investigating on the computer for me while I was dealing here physically. He was working and doing some teamwork for me back at the station. So we were able to get a hold of the owner, who then told us that there was an actual person still living here and inside the house. Even despite knocking and knocking on the door as hard as we could, we didn't get anybody to answer the phone or door. So the dad was able to get a hold of the son, who came outside, and we informed him that this is just unacceptable.
But I think the key component here is that somebody had seen something and they called, right? So it's the old saying, if you see it, say something. And someone did. They called us, we rushed out there, and as you can see, this dog's in distress. And they're home. So it's not like they just left him, someone's home. And they leave this dog, and thank God for Deputy Sanchez. You see her in the footage, going to get this dog. And, she makes the owners take that dog right to the vet clinic. And since then, she's done, several follow-ups. So the dog's doing good now. But this isn't the only dog that this is happening to. So think of the summer or even winter when it's super cold. So it doesn't have to be heat stroke, right? We could have hypothermia too. So it's like, if you see something, you have to say something. And thank God, in this case, somebody does. And thank God we have, Deputy Sanchez going out there who's dedicated to making sure that these animals are being cared for, right? And I think that's where the example is, right? That, they get tickets, but when you think about the tickets, it's like, yeah, they're gonna get to court, have to explain this to the judge. But at the time, we have to handle it, right? And it's like, get this dog in a car, it's having a heat stroke, and get it to the hospital. And we're following you. We're gonna be rolling up the same time you do at the vet clinic. So as pet owners, if you are experiencing some financial difficulty, call us. You can go onto our county website, Macomb County Animal Control, go on our website and see what we have available. Right now we have a pet retention grant, so we can help you subsidize some medical costs. We have the food bank, we have the TNR program. So there's resources out there, and we're not the only ones. So even if you're not in our area, call your local animal control, call your local police department and see what may be available to you in those areas, right? But don't give up hope. 2, don't do anything rash, right? Really look at, some resources that are out there for you. And, at Macomb County Animal Control, like I said, we have the pet retention grant, we have the food bank, so we're trying to bridge the gap the best we can, right? So we have the TNR program. So just give us a call, go to our website, whatever it is, right? Just give us a call. At least start there. Okay, just want to take a moment and thank everybody for tuning in again to episode 18 of On Patrol with Macomb County Animal Control and Shelby TV. And remember, when you're looking for your new forever family member, you have to come to Macomb County Animal Control. We have a whole shelter full of animals that are waiting to go home. And they're from Macomb County Animal Control, so your impact would still be here at Macomb County Animal Control. And I know that they would appreciate it, we'd appreciate it. And go onto our website, Macomb County Animal Control website, our Facebook page, Macomb County Animal Control, and see all the amazing animals up for adoption, just waiting for you to come get them.